Ready? How we doing? Roll up, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last. We are saving the best for last. Roll up and grab a pew. There are plenty. The last one on the Sunday evening is really chill. It's really fun. But Sam's got high energy, so it's going to even be more fun than usual. Grab some seats. You're going to get some free food. This is Meatopia 2019.
People, fantastic.
Guys, the running narrative today is barbecue is big business, okay? American barbecue is back. Well, here we have Welsh American fusion with extraordinary, delicious tasting barbecue. We're calling it Barbecue 2.0. We both don't know why, but that's what we're calling it. An amazing Welsh woman, chef, restaurateur, television superstar, co-author, plus current holder of the Observer Food Monthly's Best Restaurant Award. Wow, Hangfire, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
This is Sam Evans.
Hello, 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 hello.
All right, sweetie.
How are you, Barra? You
Yeah,
okay?
brilliant, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
Now, I
good.
asked you earlier, how do you say hello in Welsh?
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah, just take one L away.
In Irish, it's dia gwitch.
Well, you could say shumai, which is like, how's it hanging? How's it hanging? Shumai.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that we're so close to each other, yet both our Gaelic languages are so different. Anyway, I
They are.
digress. Sam, over the
Yes.
last few demos now, we've been talking about the importance of travel.
Yes.
Okay, now you're very much a case in point.
Yes.
So can you get into what happened in 2012 when it came to you and traveling?
Yeah, so Shauna and I started a business together in 2012, and that followed a 6-month road trip across the United States. And we were going to discover the secrets and the alchemy of American barbecue. And so that involved in eating at 85 barbecue joints.
Jesus.
From the Carolinas. Well, I mean, I looked like Twiggy before I went. You know, I'm still trying to lose the weight. And I think what we were trying to understand was, how do you put a big piece of meat into a pit, leave it there for 12 to 18 to 24 hours, and it turns into this thing that A, looks like a meteorite, but then tastes like delicious. So, and I also think there's a cultural thing with American barbecue as well. So something that we fell in love with was the fact that you wouldn't put that big brisket or that piece of pulled pork into the smoker and just eat it yourself. And I think there's something really primal about fire that brings people together. So you put a brisket in, 12 hours later, everybody comes around, you have the party, the music's going. And I think that really inspired Shauna and I. So Shauna was before we went to America, a child death specialist for the government. Fun, eh?
And that is what?
And so she would be called in to investigate serious issues with, for example, there was a baby pea case here in London. In Haringey, where a child died. This is chatty, this is cheery, isn't it? And she would be called in to find out what went wrong.
Okay.
And then I was the global head of creative for Johnson & Johnson. So trying to find something that we both could do that didn't involve either killing children or barbecue children was kind of tricky. So we decided we both loved cooking, and that's what we did. We went on that pilgrimage, and here we are.
So you used to work in creative yourself, right?
Yes,
So you
sir.
agree that there's definitely creative juices in cooking and coming up with these kind of ideas and new ideas and what you do. It's full of creativity, right?
Yeah, I think it's just something you do because you love it, you know. And I think if you love it, you'll put your all into it, you know. So failure's not an option, really, especially when you quit your careers. And there's a certain time frame whereby you've quit your career and there's no going back. So that's kind of the fear factor jumped in with us. But that's where we are now. And I think we started off as a street food stall. Everybody seemed to like what we were doing. We were trying to bring this idea of Welsh ingredients together with, you know, these American smoking techniques. So trying to use Welsh meat, trying to get as many leeks in things as possible, Welsh-grown vegetables. And I think people just really responded to this idea of a Welsh-American fusion barbecue.
In relation to, because Ninda earlier was talking about her light bulb moment where she was working as a scientist, look at the window, and just thought, I mean, it's extraordinary. Eureka moment, I want to be a chef.
Yeah.
Was there a light bulb moment in America when you went there and traveled?
Yeah.
Was it that instant or was it more gradual? Or?
Do you know what? There really was a light bulb moment for us. And I think it's somewhere that if you've been to the States and been on a barbecue pilgrimage, if you've been to Aaron Franklin's place in Austin, and I just think that at that moment, when I tasted that barbecue and saw how he made his own pits and everything he made himself. And I hadn't really seen that so much before. And that was an inspiration to us, I thought. And he's just a kid. Although he comes from barbecue, it's not something that he really wanted to do as an individual. And he just found his groove and got on with it, makes his own sauces, makes his own barbecue pits, and then works that grind every day. And I just find that really inspirational. So that's kind of where Shauna and I were at, really.
Talk to us about, in particular, American barbecue, and in relation to, I know you have been,
Yeah.
but in relation to the synergy of music, lifestyle, and hospitality, in relation to American barbecue. Is that
yeah.
quintessentially American?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, that really hit home in the southern states. By the way, I better get some things cooking.
Yeah,
while
let's get
we're
cooking, let's get
talking.
cooking, let's get
Shall I-
cooking. So let's talk about what you need to get on straight away.
All right,
We'll come
all
back
right,
to
all
that
right.
question.
Okay, I'll digress.
Remember
I'll
that
come
question. What
I'll
was
come
it?
back to it all. I know.
So what have we got here
All right,
that needs to get on quick?
So, in relation to this barbecue 2.0, I think the thing I wanted to talk about was the rise of pork being the new beef. Bear with. So I think traditionally pork, we think of sausages, we think of, bacon, we think of all those delicious things, a lovely pot roast, a roast on a Sunday. But I think now we're starting to realize that there's value in having lots of different pork cuts that we treat in the same way as we would beef. So today I've got for you a range of really delicious pork for you. So I want to show you some. This is a pork.
Do you mind if I do it? Because the camera is doing
hello.
that. Yeah.
Hello.
If we move that over there, then
Hello.
they'll love me.
All right, so we have a pork T-bone. So this is going to be just as delicious. We've got a pork sirloin. We've got a rump with extra fat cap on it. These are pork ribeyes, which we're going to cook. And these are what they would be tomahawks. So I'm going to just see what fire's going and cook them in any which way I can. I've also got some
Is there a marinade on these, or is
yeah,
there,
so not these ones. These is, I mean, like this is just such great pork. It's really, really super delicious.
You're going to tell us where you got it from. Where was the source from?
So we've got two sources here. So one is Dingley Dell in Suffolk, really great farm, and this is Iberico pork chops. So you're all in for a treat when I cook these. And then these ones as well. So these ones, I want to get these ones on the smoker. So this is just coated in our little Creole rub. So we're going to smoke those, see how they do. Hopefully they'll smoke in time. Get a little lick of flame on there. And again, we're going to have all of this medium rare, if possible. Because if you get your pork from a really great place, you can eat it medium rare. If you're picking it up from Tesco's, not so much. But like in the US right now, what they're saying is that they've now declared it legal that you can serve medium rare pork in a restaurant if you can source it. We're still not there yet with that in the UK, but I think that's a lot to do with provenance. So let's get these on. We'll get these on the primo, and then we'll just go hustle and find some coals and cook these in as many different and interesting ways as I possibly can. We gotta hustle. We gotta hustle.
Now you just mentioned the word provenance. So as you're hustling,
yes, sir.
Could you talk just a bit? What does that mean, provenance? What does that word mean? To you as a chef, but also,
I think it's really important to know where your meat comes from. I also think that, I don't think it's always easy for people to be able to source and buy the meat that they want. Look, it's expensive at the end of the day. So I think the message probably most chefs have said on this stage is that, what you need is to eat less meat and find a better provenance for it. And that's kind of what we do in the restaurant. Where you don't serve great big portions, it's not a traditional American barbecue like that. So what we try and do is make sure that we are buying the best that we can and serving a good portion and trying to cook it really well.
In relation to America, though, and how they do barbecue, I'm guessing I could be wrong. Is provenance not really a thing that they're into, or they're less into than we are?
I think it depends. I mean, if you go to a little, they call a mom and pop barbecue joint, they are just getting that same old pork from Costco and they're cooking it up for you. And it's okay, it's delicious. But that's not what motivates them to make barbecue. They're making barbecue with a lot of soul and a lot of love. And that idea of provenance is really new. So that's not what's happening in the deep southern states. But then you go to sort of the newer barbecue joints, and it's all about that. They're quite big into this hormone-free idea. So they're trying to serve, meat which is hormone-free, which is free range, and there's a big movement against these huge farms now. So, you know, these massive super farms. So people are trying to reject the meat from there. So that's what's happening, I think, in the States right now. And I think a lot of that has come from our influence. I think in the UK, we've kind of taken barbecue, shown them that we can do something cool with it, and then given it back to them with an idea of it being having some decent provenance about it.
So how do we give back? If we go over there and we learn, we see what they're doing, and we take what they're doing with their positive things of culture and music and lifestyle with the barbecue, and then we bring it back to the UK. How do we then permeate back? I mean, would you say that's the likes of Gordon Ramsay and the likes of Jamie Oliver who are permeating into American television, or is it more subtle? How is it?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a bit more subtle than that. I mean, obviously, I mean, everybody loves. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to put these straight on. They just have some salt, and that's it. That's all you need right now. This is the T-bone, first of all. And then the other thicker piece. Sorry, I'll get back to your question.
That's all right. Take your time.
Sorry,
Take your time.
Your thicker piece is this rump. This is going to go on now as well. And we're going to go with, I'm going to keep my little sirloin for a little while. And then these are going to cook really quick, so I'm going to keep them back. And then these ribeyes, so there's got a lot of connective tissue there. I want to get those on right now. Give them a really nice sizzle.
So if I'm
that's
confident
for
to
a
cook in
second.
that medium rare, do I say to the butcher, can I cook that medium rare?
So your first question is, where's it from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so is it local? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
is it free range? And then,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I think if it's all of those things, I think absolutely. But I mean, I think you just have to gauge it. You know, you have to gauge it yourself in terms of, you know, where you're buying it from. Anyway, back to where were we?
Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay.
We don't want to talk about Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay.
No,
do we?
not really,
No,
no,
we don't
no,
want to talk about Jamie Oliver and
No, but,
Gordon Ramsay. Yeah,
but you know, is it British chefs now breaking in American culture that the Americans are now listening to how, or is it more subtle than
yeah,
that?
I mean, you have to kind of be careful because, like, you know, I think Gordon Ramsay's a bit of a caricature of a man now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if people know him so much now for his cooking than his get out of my fucking kitchen sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't really know. But I actually think, you know, I think America's been keeping an eye on what's been happening in the UK food scene for some time now. So, and they're really interested that we're doing slow and low barbecue. Yeah. So when Shauna and I went over there, they were literally in disbelief that two girls, one from Belfast, one from Wales, was going to attempt to do some slow and low barbecue. So, so in saying that, they gave us all of their secrets, all of their rubs, all these little master classes, and then we were just like, oh my gosh, that's so clever. Scribble, 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 scribble. So yeah, but whereas, and I noticed with the guys, interestingly, when the guys would go up and say, you know, what's that barbecue sauce, what's that rub, they were like, that's a secret, son, I ain't telling you that. And I'd be like, scribble, scribble, scribble. So it was
You're
really
very good at
interesting.
accents, by the way, I have
Yeah,
to say.
thank you, yeah. Better after a few drinks as well. So we'll see.
Yes.
I don't even know my own accent after a few drinks. So these are cooking really nicely now. So I want to hear that sizzle. You don't want to move them around too much. I think sometimes when we grill things, we panic a little bit and we want to move it. But what will happen is those natural oils and juices and fats will release from that meat, and it'll tell me when it's ready to be released. So I just took a little look, just because I'm gauging how hot it is. It's absolutely beautiful, screaming hot. The other thing I'm going to do is a non-Welsh. Is that for you? Is that me?
Sorry, Donna, you
Is
drink
that-
it.
is that
Yeah, no,
yours?
have
Is
it.
it?
I'm willing to
Okay.
share. Sure. In fact, I can probably get you a fresh one. Would you like a fresh beer?
Oh, yeah. How long have you had that?
Is Libby there? Libby,
Ugh.
can we get a fresh beer for this lovely lady who's working on stage?
I think that's going to be us later on, isn't it? We're going to be swigging out of half-empty things, aren't we, later? So I'm going to do another style of fusion. So this is in the cookbook. You don't have to buy it. I'll tell you the recipe. So this is a West Indian salsa verde. So I just love a really strong, fruity, zesty punch. You know, salt, fat, acid, heat. That's the thing that's going to make things sing. That's very kind of you. Thanks, Libs. So we're going to have that with this pork, and it's just going to be absolutely delicious. It's going to really sing. I'm probably not going to put it over the tomahawks because it's quite punchy, but it's going to be really, really great with the smoked steaks and with these little ribeyes over here. So I'll get
Okay.
back to that in a minute.
Wow.
So let's have a little fat.
And are all these really spicy, or if any of these really spicy, or is it all? Is the chili quite? How hot is that? And
Yes, it's a
enough.
2-hole Scotch bonnets plus pips, but the good thing about that, so these are charring up beautifully now. So I'm just going to give them another minute on each side. Then I'm going to move it to a cool zone to have them rest for a little bit. Yeah, these look really great.
Sam, talk to us about the perfect smoke. You know, so the smoke that's coming through there. How do you in your own place, your own restaurant, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
create the perfect smoke?
Well, I think first we have our own custom-built Paria grill. It weighs, well, when I ordered it, they were like, oh, it's going to be maybe 600 kilos, you know. And I was thinking, yeah, I could probably get that down the stairs. When it arrived, they were like, oh, sorry, we messed up on the measurements. It's nearly a ton. And to get it into the basement of our restaurant, we had to cut a hole in the ceiling and lower it down. So the smoker's called Lemmy because it's a ton of heavy metal. And he'd also just passed away, so I thought it was a fitting
That's
thing
fantastic. I
to
love
a
it.
rock and
Absolutely
roll
love it.
legend. So yeah, so I mean, we use a Paria grill. A Paria grill is a lovely thing, so it works in a different way like this. So here, I've got nowhere to go. So if this is getting too hot, I can't, you know, adjust it at all. So a Paria grill will have a big wheel on the side or some little wheels at the top there, and I can wind it up and wind it down.
So it's a way of gauging it.
Yeah, so that's almost me turning it up and turning it down. With something like this, you need to learn how to build your fire well. Make sure you've built yourself some cool zones. Do we have any potentially cool zones? Could we get a little grate over this bit, please, Matt? Thanks.
In relation to any... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so that's the kind of way we do it. We also have 3 smokers in our restaurant, which churn out a lot of barbecue. So we probably sell maybe close to a ton of meat a week. So that's a lot of meat. It's a lot of cooking. So
And in relation
these
to
are looking good.
what wood are you a fan of for what meat? For example, pork.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, so that'll... So we're going to let these rest a minute, Mark. We're probably going to wrap these in a second. So yeah, wood types I think are really important. I mean, for any kind of poultry, I love to use cherry. I tell you what I used the other day, which I'd never used before. I had damson wood, which was just incredible. It's like bright orange. And then I cooked some poultry with it, and the poultry just looked amazing. I mean, it was the color of... I'll do it on the camera. It was the color of that.
Wow.
You know, when it cooked, it's a bright red. It was just incredible. So if I can use British woods, I will. But yeah, damson wood was good. So poultry, you want to go fruit woods, cherry woods, plum woods. And then if you want to do something like porks and briskets, you want to go for oaks. Birch is really good. Alder's really good. So many woods.
Well, I was going to say, this guy here in the front bench, he was confused about his woods earlier and talking about his palate and stuff. I hope you were listening to that section.
Yeah.
Were you listening? Thank you.
You were confused. You were cooking on a pallet? No, probably not pallets. I don't know. So let's get this guy on now.
Now, you mentioned your restaurant. And while we're cooking, can we talk
Yes.
about that before? Yeah, so the Hangfire Smokehouse.
Southern Kitchen?
Uh-huh. Big fans here? What, you've been? Oh, yeah. Tell us
Thanks.
more. When did you go?
Ah, thank you. Sound like you got a little accent there, too. She knows what she's talking about, everybody. She knows what she's talking about.
Wow, look at you. Do you follow this lady around wherever she goes?
Yeah. I was looking for you today, actually. Yeah. So the restaurant's been open for 3 years now. I think it's coming up 4 in March. Fully booked till February now. I
bloody
think
hell,
the next weekend table is February. We've only got 2 tables. That's how you keep it fully booked.
I can ask you, what's on the menu today, right now, over there?
Right now, what time is it?
Well, it's 6:20.
Okay, they're cleaning down. Deep clean, Sunday deep cleans. So that's why I always try and do stuff on a Sunday, so I'm not there doing that deep clean. So right now, our restaurant is a little fusion of Creole. It's a little fusion of barbecue. It's got a lot of Welsh flavors to it. We do a lot of specials. But I'm just a sucker for Southern cooking as well. I mean, one of my favorite dishes is shrimp and grits. So most people that have tried grits in America are just like, oh, as Brits, we don't really get it. But, you know, we put a lot of cheese, a lot of butter, a lot of cream, a lot of love.
Sounds amazing.
And it just takes them phenomenal.
So you've got recurring dishes then? Is that what your recurring dish?
Yeah, we have recurring dishes. I mean, like, you know, the people that have been following us around for, 5-6 years now just absolutely want us to give it a thing that they absolutely love. And that is often always our American barbecue and our sort of slow and low deliciousness that we cook every week and every weekend out. So I think if I started to maybe change it up, do some smears, fricassees, foams, I think I'd be out of business in about 2 weeks, I think.
Well, listen, if it's successful, you don't change it, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, why broke it?
So, I got a question. How many reservations did you get when in the first 24 hours of opening that brand new restaurant? When it was a brand new restaurant.
Oh, good question.
How many reservations? I think I got the answer somewhere. But
Yeah,
do
you got
know?
the answer. 1,300
Did you ever
in
hear
the first
that?
24 hours.
That was
yeah.
1,300 reservations in the first 24 hours.
So we opened and we were booked for 6 months, pretty much, straight away within 24 hours. Yeah, a friend of mine built us this awesome website and it just went down. So not that awesome a website. But it was amazing. I mean, I think because people have followed us around for so long,
Yeah.
And they
So
were
what's
just
following around pop-ups, that type
yeah,
of thing?
you
So
know, and I just think they were sick of me dragging them to windy, rainy mountainsides to come and get a rack of ribs or a pulled pork sandwich. So when they knew they could eat our food in the warm and in the safety and the gorgeousness of a little restaurant in Barry, yeah, they loved it. So the building itself is really special. It's a grade 2 listed pump
this is the
house.
pump house. Now,
Yeah.
because location is really important to you, actually.
Yes.
One thing I did when I did my studies is community is really important to you. So is
Yeah.
this an ability or a chance to regenerate something?
Yeah, you know, like Barry's just one of these towns. So we could eat. So, whoop. Cardiff is the capital city. So that's kind of where all our, I would call our brand equity was. And so we could have easily opened up a restaurant there. But I think Barry's just one of these towns like sort of Margate or Ramsgate that just needed a little bit of loving, you know? And I think we could have easily opened up somewhere else and, you know, like in the capital and been perhaps successful.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just wanted to give back to or echo what was happening in the States, you know, like you put in this little barbecue joint, this little popular barbecue joint right there in the heart where the people really needed a little rejuvenation and a boost. And we were part of we sort of self-appointed ourselves to be part of a regeneration scheme, really, just to try and put Barry on the map because it's a great town. We've got blue flag beaches. We have a log flume. Yeah, yeah. And it's 0 days since anybody died on it, which is another bonus, yeah.
Now, look, Wales is stunning. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
so
stunning. I
I
love
mean,
it.
so it's a really gorgeous little place, and I love being there, and I just feel so privileged to be, you know, in a town like Barry that just really needed something like us.
Like people even slag off Holyhead Port, but when you actually go to Holyhead Port, yes, it's just a port. But if you go 20 minutes that way, it's just
gorgeous,
stunning.
yeah.
It's like the most stunning beaches. You know, it's
Exactly.
absolutely gorgeous.
So just letting you know
Yeah,
that
you
I'm
would
just,
go,
I'm
go, go.
just starting off this West Indian salsa verde. So in here, I've got some coriander, which I've finely chopped. I'm going to go in with some parsley now. Then I'm just going to, within an inch of my life, try and squeeze all these limes in.
Okay.
We do have some Scotch bonnets. They are hot. They're very spicy. But the way we counteract that heat a little bit is that we've got a little brown sugar. And we've got some pineapple juice and the lime juice. That's just going to take some of the heat out for us and give us plenty of fruity flavors as well.
Okay, so what you're making up here is the sauce is going to go along
The
with
sauce,
it, or
yeah,
you're
the
going to rub it
sauce-
into it, or is it going to
Yeah,
sit on it?
we're going to kind of drizzle it over, yeah, and see how it goes. Will you be the tester for the
Yeah.
habaneros?
100%.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, there isn't actually. It's Scotch bonnets.
Yeah, I'll give it a
But
go.
there's a habanero around the back. Why don't you? All right.
So, I mean, we had Amninder on earlier, and it's hard not to talk about gender when you've got such a successful woman like yourself on stage. But we were talking about, Amninder and myself, we were talking about Marco Pierre White's comment about how women are too emotional in the kitchen, and men can absorb more pressure than women as a result of not being so emotional.
Yeah.
That went
all
down well,
right.
didn't it?
All right, where do you go with that? I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think working in a kitchen, we do have a lot of guys working with us. I've worked with quite a lot of emotional guys, like
I mean,
not as in emotional as in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult debate to enter into when I don't have a lot of experience. I mean, my first ever job in the kitchen was when I was about 15, 16. And that was literally something from an Anthony Bourdain novel, you know, like knives being thrown, plates being smashed, you know, like people getting punched in the face, you know. And I was just waitressing and bussing tables, going like, Mum, I think I will go to college and get an education. This looks rough. But now, like, we have our restaurant. I think that style comes from the top down, right? So if I'm an angry dickhead in the kitchen, then all my chefs are going to be angry dickheads, right? But if I'm calm and cool and collaborative and celebrate their creativity and want to develop them and teach them new skills as much as they're teaching me, then that's the vibe, you know? A lot of our chefs say they've never worked in a kitchen like ours before, in a good way.
Male and
But
female.
yeah, both of them, because I think it's...
Because the thing about barbecue, it's so macho, right? It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, but maybe it's changing, and maybe you're helping to change that. But I mean, I know for a fact, I got a really good pal in Cape Town, and if I go near his barbecue in Cape Town, he's doing his braai, it's like he punches me in the face.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I think, you know, when we won the Food and Farming Awards for Best Street Food, so thank you. Thank you. So Giorgio Locatelli said the food, he'd never seen such dirty food prepared in such a clean way before. And I think what he meant by that there wasn't like grease all running over across the floor, and, you know, we're quite pristine and clean in the way we do it. So he was kind of interested in the fact that we'd taken this big, greasy, dirty notion of American barbecue and somehow refined it, you know. So imagine if women did it, this is what it would look like. So I think that was kind of a lovely thing to get back from him. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, the gender in the kitchen and how people perceive themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just humans, you know, and I just think it has to come from the top down, you know. The management has to express, you know, the values in which we all sort of live by and work by in the kitchen.
Do you see yourself as a bit of a pioneer for that kind of thing then? Or is that too heavy a question? Or you just get on with what you do day to day?
Oh, man, I don't know. I just get on with what I do, I think.
Yeah.
And just really enjoy it. And I think if you really enjoy it, then I think, you know, other people will enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
So I think these
So
are
how
ready
they
to
doing?
come off
How are
and
those-
rest if you have a little
How are
tray.
those stunning pieces of pork doing?
Yeah, the pork is great now. So I've taken it off into this cool zone. So this one was a little under. So, but now they're cooked perfectly. So the ribeye is really soft, and that's because it's got all that gorgeous connective tissue to it on the inside. You know, like a regular beef ribeye, you'll have that marbling. So that stayed nice and soft. So the sirloin, by turn, that's got a little bit firmer. It's got less connective tissue. And then the T-bone, you know, when you get a classic T-bone, you've got the porterhouse down the side. So that's looking really soft and delicious now. So we're going to take them off, because resting is important. Was Marcus Bowden talking
That
about
brings
resting
us full
today?
circle to live demo number 1, the
There we
importance of
go.
resting.
There
So
we go.
talk a bit about resting. Why is it so important? Not
Well,
to dive straight into the meat.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I mean, if you imagine it, I mean, it's a fairly aggressive process cooking meat. You know, so it's gone from like super chilled out, super raw, hanging out in the fridge, getting to know the onions and the garlics and all the sauces you don't eat. All of a sudden, you throw it on a really aggressive heat, and it just clenches up. So what you need to do is tell it it's going to be all right. Relax.
So meat can get stressed.
Yeah, totally stressed. And then the meat relaxes. It releases a little bit of what I call myoglobin, so it's never blood, you know, because you can't get blood from a dead piece of meat. So that will all come out, and those juices, and they'll just make it super tender. Because I know, I mean, if you cook at home, like you cook a steak and you're just super eager beaver to eat it, yeah, bang, pan, bang, plate. And you're like, oh my God, it's just, my chips are covered in blood. You know, but if you rest it, just take a few minutes, just rest it, it'll be worth it.
Particular time it should rest for? Does that depend on the meat? Does that depend on what you've cooked?
As a standard, 10 minutes. If you're super hungry,
It's quite a long time, isn't it?
Nine
When you
and a
think about
half
it, resting for
minutes.
10 minutes. When you're really hungry.
yeah, it is though, but like, you know, get your other stuff going on,
Yeah.
you know, maybe a little sauce, maybe you get your sides on the go. If you do rest it, some people rest it in foil, just make sure it's super loose around the outside, so you don't want to wrap it tight because it'll keep cooking if you do that. But just a nice loosey-goosey foil tent on it, you know, pour yourself a glass of wine,
Okay.
get the plates ready, make the table.
I'm
Feed
going
the
around to
cat.
yours.
Feed the
sounds like
cat.
fun. Yeah.
All right, so this is looking good now. So we've got all our lime juice eventually in here.
I think round of applause for getting all that lime in there.
Thank you.
Notice that.
Thank you, yes. And what I'm trying not to do is cry and wince with all the little tiny chefy cuts I've got in my
I
hand
was
as
gonna
well.
say, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, so that'd be a good torture. Okay, good. So we've got our parsley, we've got our lime juice. We're going to go in with some pineapple juice. Waitrose, they're treating me. Fancy.
Other shops are available.
Other shops are available, so we're going to put some of that in here. We're going to need some olive oil, Barra, if you know where there is any.
I do, darling. Where have I got to get that? I'll get that for you.
Oh, it's right behind us. Perfect.
I mean, I'm not a chef. But I know what olive oil is.
There we go. This is perfect too now. We'll just have this rest here too. All right, so there's our juice gone in there. Our pineapple juice, our lime juice. Give that a little mix. Let's get some oil. So fat, acid, heat. That's what
And
we're
the
looking for.
pineapple's going to cool down the heat. That's what you said
It
earlier,
will.
right?
It will. So we're going to get a little bit of oil in here. So this will start to emulsify and will give us a really nice thick sauce. So into that, we've got some fresh thyme. So that's kind of like our little hint to the Caribbean.
Is there any mint going into this? No.
No, no mint going
Because
into this one.
traditionally it's pork and mint in my mind. That's what I was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So this is kind of like where we're getting our little twist from. So we've got coriander
Yeah.
instead. So we've got the parsley. So we've got the thyme in there, which is going to start to basically break down with the acid of the lime. So we've got some ginger. Yeah, so we've got some ginger in here.
Lovely.
This is going to be really good. I'm just going to grab
What
a
you need.
spoon.
Anyone got a spoon nearby?
I got one.
Where's Libby? I mean, it's not time off yet.
Yeah, they've all clocked off, have they? They're all having a little drink round the back. Bloody
Listen,
hell.
you're the lucky few because you're going to get to taste this grub.
All right. So yeah,
And the
let's
less
get some
that are
ginger
here, the
in
more
there.
grub you're going to get.
Yeah, we're basically I've got a steak for each of you. Yeah. All right, so we've got some ginger here. So in goes some like garlic, in goes some ginger.
There was literally 400 spoons over here in the corner.
Yeah, I did spot them. It's all right. I'll get
That's
a
right,
job
you
in
were
this
good.
stage next year. All right, so these are habaneros. These are going to go in now. I'm going to start with a tablespoonful. Then Barry's going to taste it.
Yeah, I'm brave. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
And then we'll see.
Can I
if we
just get
need-
in there? Am I right to do that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we need a little sugar, you know, because we do have a lot of
Little brown
pineapple in there.
sugar.
Yeah, a little bit of brown
So
sugar.
you would put white sugar in there. It's got to be brown sugar.
You can use white if you want. I mean, I just think brown sugar always has that natural little caramelization to it. Let's get that, and then we just need a little salt, which I think I've spotted over here.
But if anybody suddenly feels they need to ask a question, feel free, guys, yeah? Oh, look at this. Arm straight up. Hold on, I'll get you the mic.
Hang on, slow down.
You've been good at questions today, dude. You're getting the whole steak to yourself. This guy's been a superstar. How you doing? You all right? Go for it.
Do you have to treat pork steaks any different to beef steaks when you cook them?
No, I'd say not. So it's a bit spicy, that. I'd say no, but definitely before you cook them, make sure you take them out of the fridge the way you would do a beef steak, and then just have them rest a little bit. I think everything cooks better when it's rested and come up to room temperature. So I think, and you wouldn't treat it any normally, but I think the difference is it will tighten up and feel a lot tighter than a beef steak, so don't worry about that. If you're at all worried about what temperature you're cooking it, always just have a handy thermopen with you or an instant read thermometer, and that's Scotch bonnet in my throat. I'll continue.
Now, I promise I'd have a taste, so hang on.
Oh.
Anybody has another question, just put your hand up, shoot it up. You're amazing. We've got 2 questions. Hang on, I want to taste this one first. Can I?
Yeah.
Is it crazy?
I probably wouldn't eat a spoonful the way I did.
Oh my God, it's absolutely delicious. But it is delicious. Yeah. Hey, buddy, what's
All
this?
right.
Chocolate ice cream. Yeah, you've done well. Go on.
Cooking at home, where do you stand on smoking guns?
Smoking guns, listen, I'm not a snob about absolutely anything. I think a smoking gun will give you a flavor profile really quickly. It doesn't necessarily penetrate into the food, though, so it's more of a sensory experience than an eating experience. But yeah, but you look pretty badass if you bring a smoking gun to the table and then lift up a cloche.
Otherwise, you need like a massive extractor or something like that.
No, but you can, well, you know, you can smoke at home, right? So you can get like a foil pan, and you can get like basically a tray with, what do you call it? Like a grill pan. I think you put a cake on. What's that
A
word?
baking tray.
But it's like air. So like you take a cake out, you put it on this thing. Cooling rack. Great. Cooling rack. So get some little chips, wrap them in foil, put them at the bottom, light them, cooling rack, whatever you're cooking on top of it, cover with foil in your oven. And you can make a little smoker if you want some, like maybe a little chicken or some steaks or something like that. You can smoke at home in the oven in that way. So you don't really have to have a smoker at home to be able to do that.
Have you got a question?
Yeah, you can do it in Aga. Yeah. Yeah, somebody's got an Aga here. Fancy. Is that Libby's mum?
Yeah.
Oh, Libby's mum.
We got a question from your #1 biggest fan here.
We love Libby.
You know, from an American to
A real American.
yeah, that's right, a
Real
real
live
American, Midwest here.
Yeah, God bless
So
America.
you've had Texas barbecue, you've had Kansas City barbecue, you've had
Yes.
Carolina's barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to ask me that question.
I
are you?
am.
I'm going to ask you where you're from before I answer.
I'm from Iowa, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I can be. Oh, good. All right.
So which is your favorite and why?
I really love Kansas barbecue. I think Kansas really, for me, they were the most fun about barbecue, you know. So if you go to North Carolina, South Carolina, you know, you'll see feuds with people with their hands on a sidearm when you're talking about pork barbecue. You know, it is serious. You know, and their barbecue's better than their barbecue, and Texas barbecue is better than any other barbecue in the world. But Kansas City, they have fun with it, you know. So they kind of invented the burnt end, if you like, you know, chopping off that top piece of the brisket, cubing it up, smoking it again, and it's delicious. And they also have ribs, and they have pork, and they have brisket. And it's just like, they're like, yeah, let's have it all. Where everybody else is just, that's not barbecue. That's just a bit of barbecue. You know, but I really love the way Kansas City have a lot of fun with it, you know, and I think for me that's an inspiration. You know, I mean, I just love that variety, and I think it would just be really constraining if I only specified in one type of barbecue. But even though we've taken a lot of influence from all over, yeah, for sure. Is that yours as well? Yeah. What kind of barbecue do you like then? Do you have a favorite?
See, that's it. It's
Brisket, yeah.
'Cause that's really divisive, brisket, isn't it? It's really divisive. It's like a love or hate relationship with brisket from most
Yeah,
chefs.
and you know what? It's difficult for us in the UK. If you're talking provenance, it's really difficult for us in the UK to be able to get the brisket that we know and love as barbecue. So, brisket has to have a lot of fat in it and a lot of connective fat, whereas like a grass-fed brisket almost doesn't have that. Sorry, I'm still burping over that chili. Really sorry. That was hot. You're all tasting it in a minute. No, it'll fuse in with the pineapple juice. It'll mellow out, I promise.
So what's the best way to cook brisket?
Well, if you want to smoke it, in a smoker, there's sort of two methods you can cook it. You can go hot and fast, or you can go slow and low. Hot and fast, you can probably get some smoke flavor into it. Crank it up, cook it for about 5-6 hours. Slow and low, anything from between sort of 8 to 12 to 13 to 14 hours. There's always usually, there's often, not always, but there's usually a wrapping stage, which will just help you get over that meat stall. So that's when the collagen and the natural sort of waters in the meat. Do you know what I mean? And so they stall while one either comes up to temperature or one either drops off. And then that can stay like that for a few hours. But if you wrap it, it'll just help it get through that a little bit. So I mean, that brisket is amazing. I love brisket. I love it a lot. But it is hard to get right in the UK when we have so much grain-fed meat. Okay. So a lot of it's, grass-fed meat. Yeah. So in America, it's grain-fed. So naturally, you could put it in, and even like a novice can probably churn out a decent brisket. In the UK, you really need to know your stuff to be able to make a grass-fed brisket taste juicy and moist all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think we're going to eat soon, but has we got any questions before we start to do that? Yeah, you got a question at the back. We got 2 questions. I'm on my way, Sarah. I'm on my way. Sorry, don't trip over your feet. You've been here all day. You've done well.
Primo, I don't think it was hot enough.
Yeah, well, now you feel. What's your question?
Brisket. Do you go for foil or do you go for peach paper?
What did that question
sorry,
mean?
I didn't even hear you. I wasn't even listening. God, I was totally in my own little world.
The question was.
I'm sorry.
When you're smoking your brisket, do you go for foil or peach paper?
Peach paper. Hello, David. Thank you for coming. I really like peach paper because I think it's breathable. So peach paper, if you don't know, is kind of what we call butcher's paper. So like if you think of like an old-fashioned butcher would like wrap your meat in some kind of paper and then you take that home. So in the States, in Texas in particular, they wrap a lot of their meat in that. I think it's a little breathable. So for me, I think it's better. I think foil can absolutely not have a chance of that meat breathing at all or getting a little steam. So if you can get peach paper, you can get it online. I think it's a lot better to use that. What do you use, David? What do you usually use? Yeah, so it's good. Have you found like there's a difference between the foil and the peach paper? That's right. So that's what the foil will do. It'll create sort of a boiling thing. And, you don't want to start boiling your brisket, because you're going to cook it too quickly then. All right, so our tomahawks have gone on. Unfortunately, our primo...
Not ready.
No. So...
Never mind.
There's always a plan. There's always a plan. You've got to have a backup plan. So what we're going to do is just probably pop these on here, and you'll still be able to taste the difference between that Creole seasoning that I put on them and the ones that are just going to have some lovely salsa verde. I've also brought a couple of secret ingredients with me.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
what would they be?
Yeah, so I had a little trip to Canada recently to see how maple syrup was made. Yeah, it was really good, really interesting. And it's such a lovely product. Like, it's really democratic, and it's really seasonal, and it's, vegan if you're that way inclined, which none of us are.
There's a few outside,
but
I think.
But it's really interesting. So they just tap these trees. So the season lasts just 2 months. And they tap these trees, and what comes out is the water, but it's not maple syrup. So you don't tap and expect like little honey bears. No, it's not. So you've got to boil it up, and then it turns into the maple syrup. And they get different. So have you ever seen different colors of maple syrup, like a dark one, a light one? Well, that changes as the season goes on. So at the beginning of the season, it's this amber color. And then at the end of the season, it's this really sort of dark, rich color. Anyway, the reason I brought that up is that I brought some really delicious sort of fleur de sal with maple sugar in it. So I thought that would go really great with the pork. I haven't tried it before. You could be my guinea pigs. Tell me if it works or not. But I just think the idea of bringing that sweetness and that saltiness back to pork will be really delicious.
Sam, we've got a question at the back. Go for it, dude. What's your name?
When are we eating?
Hiya, it's Freddie here.
Hi, Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
Hi. So obviously you're a chef slash restaurateur.
Oh,
and I,
shit. Hang on, public safety.
Oh, it's all falling apart.
and I think it was today in the Sunday Times I saw that Jason Atherton's.
I didn't hear any of that. I was trying to protect the public.
Tell you what,
Sorry,
Freddie, start again.
Say again. Sorry,
You're
Freddie.
a chef restaurateur. I saw today in the Sunday Times that Jason Atherton's food guilty pleasure was white bread with prawn cocktail crisps and margarine. And I was wondering, obviously this is a very professional demonstration. But
Yes,
when you're
thank
at
you, Freddie.
home
Thanks for noticing.
feeling lazy, what do you kind of eat in,
Well-
something that you would be
All right.
embarrassed to
That's a
share?
good question. Thanks
Round of
for
applause
that.
for Freddie, please, everybody.
Well, I'll let everybody into a secret unless they know this already. So, if you're a chef, you generally have the worst diet on the planet. So what happens is you cook all this amazing food for people, you get home, and you tend to eat something that you can rehydrate with hot water. So I love a pot noodle, also super cheap ramen noodles, And then if I'm thinking, oh, I gotta sort my diet out, I might chop up whatever rotten veg is in the bottom of the fridge, put that in. But it tends to be, you say guilty pleasure. I mean, I've probably survived years on eating ramen noodles. But what was just nice was prawn cocktail crisps. Did you have any sauce with it or just butter? Just
Margarine.
Not even butter. What a dirty bastard. What's he doing margarine in his house? Not even butter. Bloody hell. Shauna's mum left some flora in my house. It's been there for about 2 years. I don't know if I probably should throw it out. But chefs do not have good diets. I'm sorry to break it to you guys. So
Can
we
I just
cook
say
all
I'm
this
really
lovely
shocked and
food.
surprised, these Meatopians here, suddenly endorsing the benefits of margarine and white bread. Is that what's happened? You've had such good food all weekend. You're just dying now for a slice of white bread.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that.
Exactly. It's like, well, funny enough, we finished last night, and I just popped inside, and I just got one of the girls that was serving all day, eating like this burnt old flatbread with some raw onion on it, and we all saw it, and we were like, oh, yeah, can we have that? Yeah. And she's just like, yeah, do you want me to make you all? We're like, yeah, I'd be wicked, thanks. Yeah, so that was our dinner, was like a bit of a dirty onion sandwich at about 11 o'clock. She did make it really well. Yeah, if she's here now, I don't want her to. All right, guys.
How difficult is it to make an onion bread sandwich? How difficult is it to make an onion bread sandwich?
Oh, well, she had a flatbread, didn't
Oh,
she? It's
right,
flatbread,
okay, right.
and she'd had some like sort of onions that were there all day, so they were really sort of caramelized and broken down. I mean, it was kind of a little bit more chefy than I'm making it sound, in fairness. But it was really good. All right.
How
so
far are we from eating
Yeah,
this?
we're good. We're just cooking
Cool.
off a
I
couple of
think
these.
is this mic gone?
Perfect. So what we need to do is get slicing. Do you have
Have you
any?
got a question, dude? Have you got a
do you have
question?
some slicing
Are you
action,
just doing your hair?
Mr. Matt?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's all right, that's allowed. Question over here. Andy, can you just turn us up a tiny bit, the handheld? Cheers, dude. Go for it, dude.
When it comes to barbecue, do you feel like spices mask the flavour, or should you just leave it to salt and pepper?
Do I what? Sorry, I didn't
Do you
quite
feel
hear
like
that.
spices mask the flavour, or should you just leave it natural salt?
It kind of depends, really. I mean, I think it depends on what you're after. I mean, if I'm going to make sort of American barbecue, if I'm going to rub something, I think that spice blend is really important. If I buy something that I'm going to cook hot and fast, whether that's a steak or these pork chops, I'll try and keep my spicing really, really simple. I kind of think like I want the meat to be able to sing, and I want to taste all those flavors from it. But I really think, I mean, the beauty about outdoor cooking and barbecue and cooking for yourself is that you can totally put your own stamp on it. If you like it spicy, if you want all of that in it, just do it. You're pleasing yourself, you're becoming your own chef, you're getting to know the things that you like doing. So, I mean, I think it's good to follow recipes, but I think it's also good to follow your own palate and your own heart as well, what you want to eat. So
It's
horses
really
for
subjective,
courses.
isn't it? I mean, it's so
Yeah,
subjective
totally. But
taste.
just find your own groove with it. I mean, I do like spices. I do like quite strong flavors. And then there are times where, I just want something super simple and delicious.
Well, that
All
sauce that Sam has made has got a kick. I'm telling you now.
Yeah,
so you won't be
I'll
disappointed.
go easy with it, my friends. I'll go easy. All right. Yes, so you guys
Are
can slice it? I
people-
can slice it. Should we slice it together?
Guys, before this food comes out, any more questions?
I'll just be over here slicing. So we're going to
Feel free to ask anything.
So I'm going to try and separate it.
Don't be shy. She's only
No,
here
don't
for
be
the
shy.
5-10 minutes. I've got a question. Is there a question over here? No, I got a question. I want to ask you about your BBC TV adventure.
Oh, yes, please do.
Who knew you could see Sam Evans on BBC iPlayer?
Yeah.
You really are number one
I know,
fan,
I love
right?
it. Yeah, this is my. This is actually
But
Shauna.
you can't. Does BBC iPlayer work in the States? Yeah. Oh, I see.
Oh, actually, the TV show the second series was just on the iPlayer. I think it went live at 5:10 tonight. So, well, you're all here, so I don't blame you not
So
watching
how can you be
it.
here at
That's
the
okay,
same
I'll
time?
forgive you.
You can't be here and there at the same time. How does it's
Well,
telly?
it's the magic of telly. You can watch catch up. That's true.
That is true.
So
They've
what we're gonna
invented
do is
television
we're
that
gonna
way. You can now
have
catch up.
those
Now, I work for
together.
Channel
What we'll try
4,
and do is like do
but
it
we're
in
not
the
going to fall
cups.
out.
So these will be the tomahawks.
But I still
and
believe,
these
Sam,
will be
you're so
these
cool and
bits,
cutting
and then I'll
edge. You
just
actually
slice
should be
bits
working
on
for
top
Channel
and-
4 and not for BBC.
Right.
That's just my
Lovely.
personal opinion. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
so no, I wasn't listening again. Sorry, I should focus, shouldn't I? I know. I'm having a good time with Matt back here. We're just like admiring these delicious pork chops. Sorry, do you want to know about the TV show? Somebody
Yes, I
want
want to hear
know
about the TV show.
All right. So it's called Sam and Shauna's Big Cookout. That's difficult to say after a couple of drinks.
Shauna,
so-
by the way, is Sam's business partner, in case people are wondering. They own the restaurant together. I'd be remiss not to mention her because they really do come as a pair in business.
We
so
do.
So you're together on the BBC iPlayer doing this TV show. What's it about?
Yeah, so basically we put a highlight on communities in Wales that have a core of volunteers that help their community in somehow. Hello. Oh, see you later, guys. Bye. Bye. Thanks for staying to the end of the demo. Yep. Appreciate that. Yep. So that was Becca from Great British Bake Off, by the way. She's been helping me on the stall all weekend. She's a legend.
Well, I've got your television mission statement here.
Yes. So go on.
To
help us out,
celebrate
Barra.
the achievements of community champions and change the way people barbecue.
Yes. So what we do is we teach them on a small scale how to kind of come together as a community to eat. So it usually culminates in a great big feasty cookout. And we'll all cook it together. So we'll cook it together, honouring that essence of what they do, which is a volunteer group and them all being together. And it's usually we just meet some incredible people doing some incredible stuff. And some of the episodes are a little bit emotional. We went to this special needs riding school. I've just got to put some sauces and stuff.
Yeah,
in
because
there.
community drives you, right? Would
that's-
that be fair
that's,
to say community drives you?
Yes. We'll cut them a little bit.
Because, I mean, are
Otherwise
you
it's
working
gonna be
with
too
community champions? They tend to be volunteers.
Yes, they
Right.
are. They
So you-
are, and they do something really specific within the community.
Okay.
And so some of them are quite emotional episodes. There was a special needs riding school, and they just had these incredible kids which are training to be Paralympians.
Yeah.
And they've got cerebral palsy, and they've got these horses,
Yeah.
and it was just incredible.
and then
to
what?
cook
You have
with them.
a cook-off together. With
Yeah, totally. And we'll teach them to cook together, and it's just absolutely amazing. The determination and the will and the drive that these people have. So for us, it's an inspiration to be able to, to work with people like that and see them doing really good stuff in the community.
So, guys, when
And-
you get back tonight, you can catch up, right, and watch all episodes of Sam's BBC show.
But I will give you a small sneak peek. So was anybody here yesterday? Did you see the bicycle rotisserie? So that's
Guy at the
going
back
to
saw it.
be, so I was actually road testing that for an episode I'm filming next week. So don't tell anybody you've seen it. Meatopia, they don't have any people following him on Twitter, right? Meatopia? Nobody put any pictures up of it, did they?
Sam,
Oh.
I'm getting waved at by security, so we need to serve food
Yes.
ASAP, if that's okay.
All right, here we go. Yeah, so
I
let's
quite
get it
like
on the
it.
trays and then serve it
Right, so
around.
this looks extraordinary. So,
Here we go. So here we are. Here's our...
very soon, guys, very soon. You're very lucky. While you're cutting and chopping,
Yes.
talk to me about love.
Oh, gosh. Well, there's Tinder. There's Grindr.
Because you've said love is an essential
yeah.
ingredient to food.
Yeah.
You see, Libby's
yeah.
mum,
so
I do
let's
my
get
work, I do my
some,
research here.
salsa on it. So if you want to put them on the end with the bone.
So
And I
how
guess
do
it's
you
bring it
love?
over
I
and
mean,
put
you
some
can tell,
salsa.
like, you could immediately
Yes.
tell that you love what you do.
Yes, I do. I mean, I don't know. I think if you're passionate about something, you have to love it. You have to care about it. So we've got basically all of these delicious things ready for you. I mean, this is a sauce that was shown to me while we were in the States as well. So
Yeah.
it's a really delicious thing. I think, yeah, food and love is really important. So you got, yeah, I think they're inextricably intertwined.
They
so
are linked. Food and love, everybody. Who'd agree with that? Who'd disagree with that?
who just
Exactly.
sneezed?
Nobody. Nobody.
And
Right, let's
nobody
serve.
asked me
Let's
who
serve. Let's
sneezed.
serve this amazingness.
All right, here
Don't
we
worry,
go.
guys, we're
Let's
gonna
get
wrap.
these
We're gonna
out.
wrap in
Let's
about
get some
5
salsa on it. And,
5 minutes.
All right, here's a little
5 minutes.
salsa.
Security, come down and have some food. Taste a bit. Guys, yeah. No, I'm diving in. I'm going to be rude.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay, and then on these ones we're gonna do. All right, so good.
That is phenomenal.
Yep. So these are the ones on the left are quite medium rare if you're feeling brave. The ones on
And I
the
think
right
it's
are a little bit more medium to well done.
I think it's the first time I've had medium rare pork.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
good.
beautiful.
It should have a little chew to it. It's
Yeah.
not like beef, but
Yeah.
but it disappears quicker than beef.
Yeah.
You know when you start chewing it. We've got some more coming for you guys. We've got the ribeye.
Gather around, get some pork.
There is pork for days, my friend. Pork for days.
That sounds really.
Yes.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Oh, here? Oh, you want to have a look? Yeah, so it's fleur de sel, which is like a fancy salt.
Elbows.
And it's got some maple sugar in it. You want to try a little? Do you want me to bring you some over? Should I bring you some pork over? Yeah, go on, I'll get you some.
Hover.
All right. Yeah, why not?
That's incredible.
Oh, fuck it, get it out of there.
Really
Listen,
good.
if it's ready, chop it, cook it. Okay. So this is so it's like a cross between like little maple sugar. So you can see like the yellow bits.
My
That's
God, I
the
can hardly
maple
talk. Who's
sugar there.
mid-taste? You are. Good?
I'll go to Quebec and pick you up some. Just pay for the flight. I'll pop over. Yeah, that's where we went. We went to Quebec but this is just really delicious.
How good is that?
See that salty sweet, salty sweet.
Very tasty.
It's good stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So
absolutely
maple sugar, I use it quite often. Yeah.
Who's had medium rare pork before like that? You have, because you're a #1 fan. You're here all the time. Anybody else? No. How amazing was that?
So good.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
good.
not-
You could
is it
just
not
taste the
dangerous?
flavors.
No.
No.
You'll find out in about 10 minutes.
Well, listen, but this is what's important that we talked about at the top of the day. So that a lot of that pork is organic, and it's free range, and it's just from Suffolk. Now, if you go to Tesco's and you do that, do you remember your mum used to put like the absolute fever up you and say like, "Don't eat that pork; it's not cooked."
Pork and chicken.
That's because they used to be responsible for carrying some diseases, like back in the day, like 40, 50 years ago. Now that's not the case. But if it's free range, you could totally eat it medium rare. It's completely fine too. So like the texture's different, right? Yeah, there you go. Because like pork is, when you overcook it, it's a jaw rake, right? And you're just like, God, I can't be bothered to eat it. I can't be bothered to finish this mouthful. But
You've
when
gotta
it's
get-
medium rare, it's more like a steak.
You've got to get your
Think
meat
we've
from a
got-
reliable source, bottom line. That is the theme throughout the entire weekend. Guys, we got some more to come out.
Yeah, we do.
Um,
So I'm going to put more of this maple sugar
do you
on
want a bit
it.
of pork, dude? Dude, you love it. It's amazing.
And then we've got
We'll
our...
wrap it up. We've got 1 minute. We'll wrap up in 1 minute.
Yeah, we're done.
Anybody else got a burning opinion of what you've just tasted? Did you have a go?
Everyone's got a burning
I've
opinion.
never had pork quite that good.
Oh, that's very
Genuinely.
kind. Thank
And I
you.
say that from the bottom of my
That's
heart.
my little brother there, by the way. Thank you.
Yourself, what did you think?
It was amazing, yeah, really
I've
delicious.
got more lips.
Any opinions on the pork? Did you taste it?
Thank you.
It's very tender.
Yeah, it's very tender. You can tell it's complete quality. Anybody else have a go on the pork? Come on, you're our last
Yeah, good. Thank you.
contributors.
It was beautiful. First time eating basically raw pork, and it was nice. It was nice. Well, undercooked pork, so it was good.
Undercooked was our first time eating undercooked pork.
Yeah,
I'm glad
I'm
it was
used
me
to
that served it to you.
going dry as, but that was nice. Thank you.
But that's it. But you can't eat it like that, you know. It's just know where it comes from, and you can eat anything like that, you know. You can have pork tartare, you know. So
up there, get up
here's
there.
some more over here. We've
Go
got
on,
some
get
of the
up there, get up there.
ribeyes, which are really good. We've got some more of the T-bones, which are really good. Some of it's a little bit more medium, if y'all want to go that way.
Plenty for everyone. Wow.
Hard to take that home. Have you tried it? Did you try it with the sole? With the
I think we just let the pork speak for itself, shall we?
Verde?
Guys, we're going to wrap it. Any final opinions or questions for Sam before she heads off to the yonder of Wales and back onto her BBC stardom?
I can have a drink now, can't I? That's good, isn't it? I tried to stay sober all day for you, so...
You do really well. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the extraordinary
You're very
Sam
kind.
Evans.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
That's Cutting Room Meatopia 2019. See you next year.
Woo! Thank you. Thanks, everybody.